everybody, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are all having a great day. In today's video, we're going to talk about the two biggest regrets I have when I was doing my 5.3 liter rebuild. So previously on the channel, I posted a video of me. I did a cold start and like a walk around, and I briefly explained everything that was done to the truck. I'll recap that right now. So basically on my 2013 GMC Sierra, I had the AFM lifter fail, and then I pulled the motor out. I bought the delete kit, and then I took the motor to a machine shop because I wanted the motor 100% rebuilt because the truck had like 212,000 miles on it. So I'm like, hey, I'll get a fresh rebuild. And then while he's doing that and I'm deleting it, I might as well just put a little bit bigger cam in it. So I decided I went with the Stage 2 BTR truck cam. And then for the exhaust, I want to do a full exhaust. So I went with the Speed Engineering 1 7/8 long tube headers to the catless Y pipe, to the Speed Engineering single in, single out exhaust. And so, yeah, basically in this video, we're just gonna discuss the two biggest things I wish I would have done a little bit different and would have just spent a little bit more money. And I'm thinking I would have been a little more happy with the build. I'm not like mad about it. Like, I don't hate it, but I don't like 120% love it. So without further ado, let's get into it. Kicking off this video, my first biggest regret is going to be the exhaust system. Now, starting off with the headers, I'm excluding that because the headers, I love the headers. I definitely wanted to go with long tube headers on this build. I love the Speed Engineering long tube headers. They're great. Best quality, bang for your buck kind of deal compared to like other competitors out there. It's basically everything after that. It's like the Y pipe and the whole exhaust system. So basically, after buying everything like the headers, the Y pipe, and the exhaust system, because I was kind of in a rush, I got the motor back, and you know, I just kind of was just ready to get the truck done, and I needed an exhaust. So I was like, man, I just need to get something so I can get this truck going. I was like, you know, it's been down for like 4 or 5 months. I've been waiting on the motor. So I kind of just got a little rammy, and I bought the, you know, I just bought the easiest system that I could. And really, I regret that because, like, you know, like with just doing the single out kind of deal, not doing the true duals, like it definitely like really toned the exhaust down and really quiet that chop down quite a bit. And like I said, you know, I went back and I looked at like, you know, the Speed Engineering, like their true dual setup and like their X pipe setup, and like really what I spent on this Y pipe and the single out exhaust, if I would have spent probably like another $400 or $500, like I would have had probably just that much better sounding of a truck. So, you know, that you know, that's my first biggest regret, because really, honestly, because I've watched a ton of videos on YouTube with people running this same exact cam, same truck, same everything, and they've had a different exhaust setup on it, and it just sounds way better. You can hear that chop a ton more. And yeah, but so, because then basically before I bought everything, because like honestly my original plan was just to get the headers and then the Y pipe, you know, and then after that it was going to be custom exhaust. I wanted to have a shop bend me up custom exhaust. And you know, so when I got to that point, I was, you know, going around to local exhaust shops, you know, that do custom exhaust. I was like, hey, you know, I got this truck, I got all this, you know, I got the headers, the Y pipe, everything. I was like, I'm looking to have exhaust ran, you know, I want custom exhaust. I was like, I want to run this. And then they're just like, well, how big is your Y pipe? And I'm like, well, it's 3.5 inches. And they're like, oh, okay. They're like, well, we can reduce it down to like 2.5. But they were just like, really? They're like, you might be better off just keeping it 3.5. So like maybe you can find a pre-bent kit at like 3.5, because like we really can't bend 3.5. So basically all the shops around my area, they're all saying that they can only bend up 2.5 inch pipe. And they were saying that could hinder performance. So right there, that's when I went back on Speed Engineering, and I was like looking at them, and I'm like, Well, here's a 3.5-inch kit. I'll bolt right up to my or clamp right onto my Y pipe, and I'm like, it's only about 450 bucks. I'm like, so might as well go with that, and then, you know, put it all on and start it up. And I'm like, man, I was like, it doesn't sound bad, like when you get on it, getting on the highway, like it sounds phenomenal, but like when you start it up, like with that muffler, like that exhaust system I got on it, it just completely just toned it right down, like hid that chop a ton. And I'm like, man, dude, like right now I'm just really regretting it because I was already spending the money. Now I just wish that I would have spent just a little bit more money and I would have just had like a better sounding truck, you know. So anyone out there is looking to get like an exhaust system for these trucks, and if you're putting a cam in your truck or you're doing anything, like if you're really like if you're going with like a mild cam, like a stage 2, like kind of like what I did, I definitely wouldn't recommend getting like, you know, this Speed Engineering single in single out exhaust. I would definitely like try to go with like True Duals, like X pipe kind of setup deal, because this, it really hides the chop. Because from the previous video I posted with having the open headers and everything, you could hear that chop. Like I'm like, man, that sounds great, but then with the rest of the exhaust on it, it was definitely just down the drain. So in conclusion, basically, I'm not saying like these parts are junk. I'm not saying that like don't buy these parts. Like if you're building your truck to like kind of like do like a daily driver kind of deal, like definitely I'd go with, you know, with this exhaust system, the single, you know, the Y pipe single out. Sounds great. It's not too bad driving down the highway. But like if you're kind of like me, if you were like looking to like maybe like have something a little more fun because this isn't your daily driver, like I definitely wouldn't. I would just spend the little bit more and get True Duals put on it and just get a different exhaust system put on it, because it really, like I've said it a million times in this video already, this exhaust really hides the chop. So enough with the exhaust. I kind of elaborate a little longer on that than what I wanted to, but I was trying to explain and be as most straightforward with you guys as I could. So basically my second biggest regret with this truck is just not putting a bigger cam in it. Yep, there you go. That is my that is another big regret, because, you know, like I said, like it's not my daily driver. I don't drive it down the highway to work going from job to job. Like I said, this is like kind of my weekend truck. I got, you know, I have another daily driver, my 2015 GMC Sierra. That's nice. It drives great. And, you know, like that truck's comfortable and this truck's comfortable. But like I said, I like to take this truck out on the weekends and like, you know, drive it around, and it's red, you know, it sticks out, and like, you know, I regret it. I 120% regret not putting a more aggressive cam in it. And the reason why I went with this stage 2 cam was because, like, you know, when I first started looking into putting cams in a truck, I wasn't really entirely sure on like the whole process of it. And I was reading online and everyone was saying that, oh, you can put a stage 1 or a stage 2 in your truck and run the stock converter. And I was just like, well, you know, I'm already spending a ton of money. Like, I'm like, I really don't want to spend more money upgrading the torque converter. You know, like I said, again, it was me just being cheap. And so, like I said, I was kind of just overwhelmed with all the options. And after more research and more options and questions, I was asking, you know, people that have done stuff to these trucks, and they were just saying like, hey, and they were like, if you daily drive it, just put a stage 2 in it. And then like me not thinking, I'm just like, well, you know, thinking back, I don't really daily drive it. So it's like, it really wouldn't have made a difference. And I don't tow with this truck. So like, why I went with the stage 2 cam, I couldn't tell you. I really just wish that, you know, I would have went with the more aggressive cam, and I wish I would have just spent a little extra money and bought the more aggressive cam that I wanted and upgrade the torque converter, because, you know, like I've said in the previously in the video, I had the motor out, and this guy that I work with was like, hey bro, you got the motor out of your truck, torque converter's right there, why don't you just put a bigger torque converter in it, put a better torque converter? He's like, whatever, you know, get some, put a bigger cam, do at least a stage 3. It's like, if you do anything less than a stage 3, you're gonna regret it. And I was like, nah man, no way, man. I was like, I'm gonna love it. Anything better than stock, I'm gonna love it. And then, like I said, I don't hate it, I don't love it 120%. So like I said, I was already spending the money. I should have just spent just a little bit more money, man. and I would have had just a little bit better of a build. So, you know, that's the other thing that I really regret. And, you know, because everything was right there at your fingertips, man. Everything was right there at your fingertips. I could have changed torque converter, no problem. You know, did all that. It was right there. But now, if I want to do all that, I'm going to have to, 1, pull the transmission, or 2, pull the motor back out. So now it's just more work. Now I'm spending more money on top of what I've already just spent. So really, I'm spending double the money. So like I said, this truck for like daily driving, it's perfect. You know, it's fun. It kind of turns some heads when you go places, and like, you know, you roll up to a certain place, you know, people like that kind of know trucks, they look at it and say, oh man, what do you got in that? You know, or like they can tell it's got a little lope to it, but it ain't nothing crazy. Like it ain't like, you know, I've definitely have seen better ones out there. So daily driving, perfect setup. Stage 2 BTR cam, the exhaust, perfect setup. Stock torque converter, stock everything, perfect setup. But like if you're looking for something more aggressive, something with like a really like nasty chop to it, something that's going to really add the horsepower, like I definitely would go just spend a little bit more money. No doubt, just spend a little bit more money, put the more aggressive cam in it that you want, put the better torque converter in it, and put the better exhaust system on it. Because you know what, at the end of the day, you're already spending a ton of money. Why not just spend another $1,000, if not maybe a little more, and just get something that's just going to be awesome? Like, especially if it's a toy, if you're not towing with it, if you're not daily driving this thing down the highway, you know, especially if I don't got kids, so it's just like, I don't got a kid in here. So yeah, those are just my biggest regrets. And I'm not saying like none of these can be changed. I'm not saying like I definitely, like I screwed myself 120%. I'm not saying that, you know, these parts are junk, because these are all nice quality parts. This truck runs phenomenal. It really does run great, and I have no complaints about how it runs or drives. Like I said, I'm just not loving it 120%. Like if I would have just put a more aggressive cam, better exhaust, did a little work with torque converter, and then everything. So like I said, if you're in the process of doing this to one of your trucks, and if it's not a daily driver, like I've said a million times already, just spend the more money, learn from my mistakes, and just spend the more money, and just go all out with it, especially if it's your toy. So like I said, I'm not gonna keep elaborating on about that, being boring about it. I kind of went over the 2 things that I really regret with my engine build. I tried to think of more, but I really couldn't think of more, because like other than like that, like the rebuild, like the motor rebuild and the cam and the exhaust, and didn't really do a whole lot. Like the guy basically just put stock, you know, pistons and everything back into it. So really the only thing changed with it is the cam and the exhaust. That's about it. That's going to conclude today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I didn't elaborate and talk your ear off too much. I tried to be straight to the point. But if you liked the video, please smash that thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. And I'm going to be bringing more content to the channel of this truck. So if you don't want to miss that, hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll see you guys next time.